Okay, this is going to be the heart of AniMaps. I'm pushing this out today sometime. It'll be live on the site, and the video is going to show you how AniMaps actually works and where the great, I posted all this stuff that it'll be something fantastic for people to use in genealogical research. I'm going to show you some of the tools as to why this situation is and why it's a beneficial tool. It's also a plea for people from Wisconsin that have been following it to maybe step up, volunteer, do some testing, using the product to see what types of bugs, if there's additional features you want to see, things, understand where you're using it. This is a development version of the product and not ready for prime time release, although features are being fixed, corrected, added, and you can see now we had circles and markers and all kinds of information that were being shown before, but now it's organized. This adds research subjects. So if we go into Wisconsin, and let's go to Wapaka, and let's zoom it up. Okay, these 2 points of interest, and the circles are of interest in the story of Anna Lynn and William Bentley. They married sometime in 1887, although currently there's no way to know where, no way to know how they met, no way to know when the families were in any close relationship. But you can see here's a note on these circles, and it's a possible meeting location for Anna Lynn and William Bentley. Now, since it was 1880s, you can see I'm using about a 25-mile radius. 25-mile radius would be about what a person would travel back then in a day. So they would have potentially had opportunity to meet. The locations come from William Bentley was in all censuses up until 1890. He was in and around Wapaka. This is the location in Farmington where he was in 1880. Anna Lynn, I have much less information on, but I have a letter from her brother that indicates he was looking for his baptismal record in Junction City. I don't know what year he was born yet, but it's still a point to go. So the second marker is Junction City. So we have this information that ties it, that it's a possible meeting location somewhere in here that they would have met and married. The timing is going to be about right in the mid to late 1880s. So you drop a circle in it with a 25-mile radius at the center points of it, and somewhere in this area, it's possible they would have met. Now, William, not certain he was a farmer. His father was a farmer, but his father died in 1883. So I don't know what he's doing at the time in that area, but it's very possible the common point could be Stevens Point. He could have had reason to travel for business work, whatever, to Stevens Point, even looking for work, that they came in chance meeting. But it's constant data that's there that allows me to see what's happening, movement, locations, and it targets areas for search that I didn't know. Now, sure, I can do this with notes. I have the notes, but every time I go back, I have to re-look at the notes, I have to refigure it out, I have to find the tools that I use to find it. Now, the things we can also look at with AniMap is I can go to the 1860, because we know it's after 1860, and we see a final shape of what Wapaka County looks like. So we now know the shape of the county, we know everything, the lay of land, everything that it looks like, and we can do the same thing in retrospect by going from a portage perspective. And again, zoom up on the map. Now let's get to the, you can see Portage is way down here in 1836. It's not even where it originally comes from. Okay, Portage has a shape of, it finally hit its final shape in 1856. So now we know what Portage County looks like, and we know what Wapaka County looks like. Now, since we're dealing on this on county level, we're not going to see the exact shape at the same time. But this is Wapaka County, this is Portage County, and you can see it's very close to it. So we're going to get real close in, yeah, it's very easy. These people could have met somewhere in this joined area of the circles. So this is the power of what this tool is going to be, because you can go to, I can switch subjects, history or Deerbrook. And here you can see I have no notes, but you notice those circles disappeared. So let's go to New County. Here you can see it's Deerbrook. Now this is New County when it's first formed in 1879. It becomes Langlade County in 1880, and there is no change. So then you're going to go to Langlade. And you can see it's just changed. And then we get into the boundary changes. And you can see how it changes from there. So this is, the power is when you refresh your browser, it's there. Circle, marker. When you change subjects, everything's going to change. You can add a note. You can say it's a research note. Put it to a subject. Save it. Your note's saved. Now let's switch to Deerbrook. And there's a note. So all of this is dynamic to do it. Another benefit that's being added is you have to first select state, or was added, with Sitefinder. Now this Sitefinder database exists of 700,000 plus locations, many of them historical, a lot of cemeteries, schools, things like that you typically are looking for and are difficult to find in a general sense of searching on the internet. This is much easier to go. You can search by the name of the item you're looking for, the county you're looking for, or a location type. So I could come in here, location, and say, okay, I'm in Wisconsin, give me schools. And now you see I've got 110 pages of different schools. 2,735 schools are listed here. And many of these are not going to be around anymore, or they're going to be older. So you can search these databases, and you can turn around and we can say, let's say, Indigo. Now a better one yet is Bohemian. Okay, Langlade County, first thing I didn't realize, there's actually two Bohemian cemeteries. The Bohemian National Cemetery is located around Deerbrook and Neva Corners. The Bohemian Cemetery is actually located in Anigo. Now, with these features, you get to, when I say I want to add the Bohemian National Cemetery, I can put it to whatever subject. Add my note, add the marker. No, you see it didn't show up because I'm on the history of Deerbrook. But now when I switch, here's a marker for the Bohemian National Cemetery. Double clicking on the map. If I double click on the map, again, I can say a subject, I can say general, I can say somewhere. Add a note. Add marker. Let's switch to general. And you can see there's your marker and your note. It's a different color. It's red. That's the difference in the Sitefinder and a marker that you custom locate. The advantage there is you can instantly tell whether it came from the database that's included or if it came from, all these are from the Sitefinder. All these are ones I place. You can draw a circle. So we can come in here and just say, okay, give me a circle. I can say I want a 20-mile radius. I can put it to general, add a note, draw a circle, and get an error. that's something that will be looked at and fixed before this goes out tonight. Another feature that's been implemented is measure distance. Now, this is one for dissimilar points. You want to know how far something is, because it'll help you determine where ancestors could have gone, where they're at. They can only travel so far with certain types of transportation modes. And calculate, and it's 116 miles. Line goes away. So this is the main power behind it, besides the fact of what I've been saying all along, being able to follow county changes throughout time. You can see the BND change is a boundary change. Yes, indicates that change had a boundary change. Here we have Ashland is attached to Bayfield for judicial purposes. This is just a judicial thing. Pay attention to these. When you're looking at where there's a boundary change, you're going to find that this is another one that's still being worked out in development. There's two different types they tag this information in the KML files from Newberry. You got some that'll show up just fine, but then all of a sudden they tagged it a different county and it no longer shows up. I'm trying to figure out where to find that tag so it shows. This may or may not be fixed. But what I'm going to point out is when you mouse over, if you've got a boundary change, whatever description comes up in that box is going to be the same that appears in the event details down here. However, when it doesn't have a boundary change, you need to pay attention to here, because the event details will now give you non-boundary change details, like Ashland is now detached from Bayfield because it's fully organized. What this says is in 1873, Ashland now is their own record keeper. There's no courthouse. They're no longer dependent upon another county. Prior to this, your records may or may not be found in Ashland County. They may be in the Bayfield Judicial District, especially in court cases, probates, things like that. It's very critical to know this, because if you're thinking Bayfield or Ashland and they didn't have their own courts at the time, those courts are going to be attached to a different county. That's why these dates and events are so important to pay attention to when it isn't a boundary change. So that's in a nutshell what the big benefits are, what we're doing, how we're trying to accomplish it, and the tool is to keep stuff there that the system remembers what county or what research subject you're in. So your last research already loads. This, to me, from my perspective, is a benefit, because in doing it this way, I don't have to remember where I was at. I know what subject I was searching. Yeah, I might want to switch to a different one and start, but that's okay, because I found additional information and I now want to add it. But if I wanted to continue my search, I can continue my search. So these are the important things, and I hope you're finding this one extremely useful in how this product works. Now, for the final thing that I want to cover about, yes, I'm looking for volunteers to help start testing it. If you want to volunteer, contact me, and in return for testing and actually using the product during this development process and giving feedback, you will get lifetime access to the product. So, hope you enjoyed, and I hope it helps. Thanks.